Harlow describes his work as follows. For the past 10 years, we have studied the effects of partial social isolation by raising monkeys from birth onwards in bare wire cages. These monkeys suffer total maternal deprivation. More recently, we have initiated a series of studies on the effects of total social isolation by rearing monkeys from a few hours after birth until 3, 6, or 12 months of age, in a stainless steel chamber. During the prescribed sentence in this apparatus, the monkey has no contact with any animal, human or subhuman. These studies, Harlow continues, found that sufficiently severe and enduring early isolation reduces these animals to a social-emotional level in which the primary social responsiveness is fear. In another article, Harlow and his former student and associate Stephen Suomi described how they were trying to induce psychopathology in infant monkeys by a technique that appeared not to be working. They were then visited by John Bowlby, a British psychiatrist. According to Harlow's account, Bowlby listened to the story of their troubles and then toured the Wisconsin laboratory. After he had seen the monkeys individually housed in bare wire cages, he asked, "Why are you trying to produce psychopathology in monkeys? You already have more psychopathological monkeys in the laboratory than have ever been seen on the face of the earth." This did not deter Harlow and his colleagues from devising and carrying out their monkey experiments. In the same article in which they tell of Bowlby's visit, Harlow and Suomi describe how they had the fascinating idea of inducing depression by allowing baby monkeys to attach to cloth surrogate mothers who could become monsters. The first of these monsters was a cloth monkey mother who, upon schedule or demand, would eject high-pressure compressed air. It would blow the animal's skin practically off its body. What did the baby monkey do? It simply clung tighter and tighter to the mother because a frightened infant clings to its mother at all costs. We did not achieve any psychopathology. However, we did not give up. We built another surrogate monster mother that would rock so violently that the baby's head and teeth would rattle. All the baby did was cling tighter and tighter to the surrogate. The third monster we built had an embedded wire frame within its body which would spring forward and eject the infant from its ventral surface. The infant would subsequently pick itself off the floor, wait for the frame to return into the cloth body, and then cling again to the surrogate. Finally, we built our porcupine mother. On command, this mother would eject sharp brass spikes over all of the ventral surface of its body. Although the infants were distressed by these pointed rebuffs, they simply waited until the spikes receded and then returned and clung to the mother. These results, the experimenters remark, were not so surprising, since the only recourse of an injured child is to cling to its mother. Eventually, Harlow and Suomi gave up on the artificial monster mothers because they found something better, a real monkey mother who was a monster. To produce such mothers, they reared female monkeys in isolation and then tried to make them pregnant. Unfortunately, the females did not have normal sexual relations with male monkeys, so they had to be made pregnant by a technique that Harlow and Suomi refer to as a rape rack. When the babies were born, the experimenters observed the monkeys. They found that some simply ignored the infants, failing to cuddle the crying baby to the breast as normal monkeys do when they hear their baby cry. The other pattern of behavior observed was different. The other monkeys were brutal or lethal. One of their favorite tricks was to crush the infant's skull with their teeth. But the really sickening behavior pattern was that of smashing the infant's face to the floor and then rubbing it back and forth. In a 1972 paper, Harlow and Suomi say that because depression in humans has been characterized as embodying a state of helplessness and hopelessness sunken in a well of despair, they designed a device on an intuitive basis to reproduce such a well of despair, both physically and psychologically. They built a vertical chamber with stainless steel sides sloping inward to form a rounded bottom, and placed a young monkey in it for periods of up to 45 days. They found that after a few days of this confinement, the monkeys spend most of their time huddled in a corner of the chamber. The confinement produced severe and persistent psychopathological behavior of a depressive nature. Even 9 months after release, the monkeys would sit clasping their arms around their bodies instead of moving around and exploring their surroundings as normal monkeys do. But the report ends inconclusively and ominously. Whether the results can be traced specifically to variables such as chamber shape, chamber size, duration of confinement, age at time of confinement, or, more likely, to a combination of these and other variables, remains the subject of further research. Another paper explains how, in addition to the well of despair, Harlow and his colleagues created a tunnel of terror to produce terrified monkeys. And in yet another report, Harlow describes how he was able to induce psychological death in rhesus monkeys by providing them with terry-cloth-covered mother surrogates that were normally kept at a temperature of 99 degrees Fahrenheit, but could be rapidly chilled to 35 degrees Fahrenheit to simulate a kind of maternal rejection. Harlow is now dead, but his students and admirers have spread across the United States and continue to perform experiments in a similar vein.